How's it going, guys? What I wanted to do in this video is kind of a comparison of a steel framed 1911 to an alloy, or even, in some cases an aluminum frame 1911. And I know that there is a little bit of discussion online as far as advantages and disadvantages of each, and there are some differences that you may not be aware of, especially if you are new to 1911s, and I wanted to point a couple of them out in this video. Now, one of the big advantages to an alloy frame 1911 is that they are typically much lighter for concealed carry, if that's what you're going to be using it for. But then there's some people that just do not like the alloy frame. It really depends on the individual. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to break these down and show you a couple of the differences in the guns. Of course, you can see that both of them are unloaded. There's no magazine, nothing in the chamber. The same here. There is no magazine in there, as well as there is nothing in the chamber. So first thing, we're going to break these down. If you're not familiar with how to take down a 1911, we'll start with my Springfield here. This is one that's been in a few of my previous videos, and I recently did a playlist of my videos containing 1911s. If you guys want to check that out, I'll try to leave a card to it up here. Now, with the Springfield, with this type of guide rod, it's a two-piece guide rod. You'll need an Allen wrench to screw the guide rod apart, just like that. I'm probably going to change this out. I'm not a real big fan of this. I don't like having to have a tool to be able to take my gun apart, but that, you can see there, it comes out very easy. Just lay it down just like that, and from here you can see we do have the cap right here. And from this point, it's basically the same way that you would take down any other 1911. You can get a tool, but I'm just going to use just something to depress this slightly. And I'm going to rotate that barrel bushing around. You need to kind of hold that to where it does not get away from you, because it will fire out of there if you're not careful. And here is our cap, just like that. Our spring, I'm just going to lay it off to the side. Now, our barrel bushing, I'm just going to rotate it around the opposite direction and wiggle it right out, and there's our barrel bushing. From this point on, of course, you've got our button there that we will be depressing. I'm going to take off the safety. I'm going to line up the notch here. It wants to be just a little bit picky. Line that notch up, push the slide stop through, and on this particular gun it is a little tight, so it does take just a little bit of wiggling to get that apart. And of course, there is the rest of my guide rod. I'm just going to set that aside, and of course I can simply take the barrel out just like that. Okay, that is my Springfield. Okay, we'll set it all over right here. Now for the Taurus, again, we are empty. And basically with the Taurus, we just start with removing or depressing that cap, rotating the barrel bushing around just like so. Pull it out. Spring, take our safety off, line up the notch, and you can tell a big difference as far as how tight there is, how much of a difference there is in the tolerances between these two guns. Now that I've got that out, I simply slide the gun in half. Of course, there's the guide rod for the Taurus. Rotate the barrel bushing around, set it out, pull the barrel out just like so. Now, that's basically how you disassemble a 1911. But now, for comparison, we're going to take the frames, and I'll put the safety on both of these because I don't want that hammer going forward on any of them. I want you to look at something very carefully here. I want you to notice how that there is a little bit of difference in the frames. Let me see if I can get just a little bit more light in here for you. Okay, you see here on the Taurus on my left, you can see that feed ramp the way it is. But then look at my Springfield, you'll notice that it does not have a feed ramp on the frame itself. Okay, now let's look at the barrels. Let's set these down and pick up the barrels of these two guns. And you'll notice on the right that the feed ramp is part of the barrel on the Springfield, while the Taurus is not. Now that is one of the differences within some, but not all, but some models of your 1911s. Okay, if you were to have that alloy frame continue into that feed ramp, and I know that there have been some out there that have had this, that is very prone to getting damaged, especially with some types of ammunition. And what will end up happening is if that gets chewed up real bad with that softer metal, you're not going to have a lot of fun. You're going to be very disappointed in how your gun feeds. You're going to start having a lot of feeding problems, because if that gets dented, if it gets chewed up, which an alloy frame gun is softer than a steel frame gun, and over a period of time that is something that can happen. Okay, when you have something like this, of course that feed ramp is metal, it is a steel, it is part of that barrel, and you're not really going to have as many issues with something like this as you would an alloy frame feed ramp. However, what some manufacturers are doing now is the feed ramp, if it is part of the frame, they're actually using some type of a much harder insert where that feed ramp is. Instead of, you know, extending that alloy all the way into the feed ramp, they're using some other type of metal, you know, either steel, I think I've seen some that are tungsten, or just some other real hard metal to make up for that softness in the frame. Now, some people will say that an alloy frame pistol is not as good as a steel frame, particularly when it comes to the 1911. I really think that it depends on the manufacturer. Now, this is my personal opinion. There are a lot of alloy frame guns out there, very popular guns. The Mark 25 used by the U.S. Navy SEALs, it's an alloy frame gun. You're typically not going to wear these out within most people's lifetime. Alright, those rails, the way that these frames are made, if you keep it lubed, if you take care of it, this thing is going to last for generations. Okay, it is going to be around for a very long time. And just to look a little closer on this one, there's been a lot of rounds put through this gun, but I want you to look at that slide, those rails. You cannot really see a lot of wear, if any, on these rails. Okay, alright, and that is going to be a big characteristic about some of these. The way that they treat these, the way that this metal is, as hard as it is, even though it's an alloy, it is still a very, very durable metal. Alright, it is still very well capable of lasting, like I said, for generations. Okay, if it's maintained properly, if you take care of it. Alright, the same with this one. You know, this steel, over a period of time, even though it is hard, as hard as it is, you know, harder than that alloy, eventually it will wear out. You give it enough time, it's going to eventually wear out. But there again, proper maintenance, proper care of your firearms, and they're going to last for generations. I'm sure that both of these guns will be around well after I'm gone. You know, I'm sure that my kids will have times, you know, plenty of time to shoot these guns well before they're wore out. But you can really feel a difference in the weight between these two. They're both very good guns. I would not have them if I didn't like them. Okay, and this is just something that I wanted to do, just to kind of a little bit of a comparison between them for any of you guys out there that might not be sure which you would go with. What I would do is I would look at the feed ramps. I would try to look at an overall comparison between the particular manufacturer that you're looking at. You know, if you're going to look at an alloy frame, typically a lightweight modeled 1911, try to figure out exactly how that feed ramp is set up. If it is one that is alloy where that feed ramp is, I would stay away from it. I would not go with that gun. However, if it is one something similar to this, where that feed ramp is part of the barrel, okay, or if it is a you know, if there is an insert in there to where it is a harder metal, then you might be okay. My preference, and there again, this is just my preference, would be a feed ramp that is part of the barrel, because sometimes with dissimilar metals you can get, you know, expansion and that sort of things that could affect it potentially, but that's just my personal preference. I would rather have either a solid steel frame, or if I went with an alloy frame, it would be something that has a feed ramp, something like this. Okay, that's just my preference, it's my opinion. But guys, this is just a quick video that I wanted to do. Both of these guns, like I say, both of these guns are mine. I have spent my hard-earned money on both of these guns. I like these guns, or I wouldn't have them. And you know, this is just kind of a little bit of a comparison for any of you guys out there who are curious about the differences between these types of frames. But guys, it's just a quick video that I wanted to do. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on lightweight frame pistols, 1911s in particular, like this, compared to the steel frame? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. Also guys, be sure to check out all of the links down in the description. I use Amazon. There's some affiliate links down there if any of you guys want to help support the channel. Anything you buy from Amazon through any of those links goes to help support what we do here. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Check out all the rest of the videos on the channel. Be sure to go over to the recommended list. I'm not sure which side it is. I think it's over on this side. Go over there, scan through that recommended list, find another one of my videos, and watch it also, because that will help YouTube to know that you want to see more of my content, and that way it'll help recommend it, and it'll kind of help overcome some of the shadow banning of my content. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my website at boomsticktactical.com, and we'll see you next time.